During my second year of my MBBS degree, I had the opportunity to go on a 1-month placement at a rural town. Now I could have gone mid-year or at the end of the year, but I decided to go mid-year in a small town called Benalla City in Victoria. So why did I go there? Well, I've never been to Victoria and I decided to see what the southern of Australia had to offer. Also, I kind of wanted to leave the warmth and the heat of Townsville and Queensland. In this video, I'll be talking about my experience on my placement, Benalla's health, and the interesting things you can do as a tourist in Benalla City. We're off to Benalla. This is where my rural placement is for 1 month, and today is the day that I'm taking the plane. After a 3-hour flight, I landed and breathed in the chilly Melbourne air. I then got into a taxi and off to a dodgy but cheap backpacker in the middle of Melbourne CBD. I stayed the night and woke up early to catch my train for Benalla City. I also thought it would be a good idea to have a little walk around Melbourne and see what it had to offer. Needless to say, I almost kind of missed my train as I got a little bit confused at the train station.
They got married early, never had no money. Then when he got laid off, they really hit the skids. He started up his drinking, then they started fighting. He took it pretty badly, she took both the kids. She said, I'm not standing by to watch you slowly die, so watch me walking out the door.
In my 6 years of MBBS undergraduate program, this was my 3rd placement in only 1.5 years of medical school, and will be the longest one so far.
She went to her brother's, got a little bower. He went to the nunnery, he stayed about a year.
Now, before I arrived at Benalla City, I decided to do some research about its health and about its population. This was actually quite useful, as I could predict what diseases and patients I would be encountering during my placement, and I recommend every medical student going on placement to do the same. All the information that I found is as reliable as I could get. Have a look, it's in the reference list down below. There are a ton of information and details that I won't get into, but have a look on my website of my 2 blogs about Benalla City, and you can have a more detailed look on its health and population and demographic. Benalla is a small quaint city, located on the Broken River, and is the home place of the Taungurung people, with the local Aboriginal tribal group called the Benalla. Around Benalla is Benalla Surrounds, and Benalla's main economy, I believe, is agricultural and tourism. Situated 200 kilometers northeast of Melbourne, 170 kilometers east of Bendigo, and 47 kilometers southwest of Wangaratta, Benalla is thus classified on the modified Monash model as a 4, and the Australian Statistical Geography Standard Remoteness Area as a 2. Hence, Benalla City is classified as an inner regional category or as a medium rural town. The total population of Benalla is close to 14,000. with a population of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander of 224, which represents 1.6%. There are 49.1% males and 50.9% females, and the median age is 48.8 years, compared to Victoria and Australia, 37 and 38 years respectively. 58.4% in Benalla are in the working age population, and that is between the age of 15 to 64 years of age. The children aged 0 to 14 years make up 16% of the population, and the people aged over 65 years and over make up 25.4% of the population, which is huge. And hence, the percentage of the population aged 25 to 44 is well below average, while people aged 45 and over are overrepresented. And that was particularly true, as most of our patients were the age of 50 or above. I could describe Benalla as a retirement city with a high amount of an aging population. And it seems that the young adults of 18 years of age to the older adults of up to 50 years of age do not stay in Benalla. And that was definitely a presence that I felt when I was walking in the streets, as sometimes I thought I was the youngest person there. I found that it could be a challenge to retain young healthcare professionals in a city like Benalla, as I can understand that young families would tend to go more to towns that were similar to their age. However, I can definitely tell you this one thing: Benalla is not dull or boring. It's actually really impressive for such a small city to have so much history and culture. Some of the attractions include Winter Motor Raceway, Winton Wetlands, State Gliding Center, Benalla Street Art, Wall-to-Wall Festival, which is very popular, Silo Wall Art, Benalla Art Gallery, Ceramic Mural, Aviation Museum, Aquatic Center, Bushwalks, and let's not forget the Ned Kelly Trail with the Ned Kelly history. There's also a really cool Ned Kelly Museum. Benalla contains kindergartens, primary and secondary schools, a TAFE college, comprehensive health services, and a wealth of opportunity that you can participate within your community. There is also Lake Benalla with the surrounding botanical garden with an abundance of beautiful roses. An interesting fact is that Benalla is known as the Rose City. There is also the walking tracks and the heritage walking trails, which are a key attraction located within the town and used by many to exercise, enjoy their walks and walk their dogs. Benalla Rural City has a well-developed disability, aged care and childcare services. Since it's a more substantial proportion of the elderly population, Benalla is a great place for the elderly to live and retire. My main impression is that people are happy to live there and are very engaging with the community. Yeah, so here it is. I finally arrived in Benalla through the train and now I'm just gonna go to my accommodation for tonight, and then on Monday starts my placement. It's -1 degree and I'm walking the Airbnb owner's dog. -1 degrees, like there's frost, like you would think, am I in Australia? What? Got our little breakfast, chilling there on top of the fire, otherwise it's just too cold. So after staying at my Airbnb, I'm off to Benalla Health and meeting the staff and have my orientation there. I'm pretty excited. It was -3 degrees this morning, so it's very different to Townsville's weather, I can assure you that, but it's alright, it's nice. During my placement, I was allowed to practice what I have been taught and do new things that I've never done, obviously under strict supervision. As long as you're keen and interested, that you're polite and professional, that you arrive on time and ask lots of questions, healthcare professionals are really happy to teach and help you. This placement really helped me to see and understand how other healthcare professionals come together for a common goal, such as the dietitian, the physiotherapist, the social worker, the occupational therapist. It was really interesting to learn about the NDIS scheme and my HK scheme. I also got to do lots of diverse and interesting activities, such as attending lectures and support groups, going into theatre, going on to ward rounds, follow the district nurse, and so on. My placement also allowed me to do the basics very well, and doing the basics well is important for clinical years, such as taking observation, doing a patient history, putting on ECG leads, or presenting a handover. And not to sound cliche, but my 1 month rural placement allowed me to be more independent and consolidate my need to become a general rural practitioner, a specialty that I'm very interested in. All in all, I had a really good time on my placement. The staff at Benalla's Health were very friendly, they were keen to teach, guide and supervise, and it was a good learning environment. But when I had free time, I decided to visit and discover Benalla, and I first started with the museum. Benalla has been recognized as Northeast Victoria's leading art and culture centre. Housed in a striking modernist building that overlooks Lake Benalla, the gallery features some of the Australian most celebrated artists. The museum was beautiful, and I was told by a local that the centerpiece, the artist spent half the amount of his time just on making the eyes. Across the museum, by taking the bridge, you end up in front of a ceramic mural, which was originally inspired by the Spanish architect Antonio Gaudí. Next to the ceramic mural is the Benalla Costume and Kelly Museum and Visitor Information Centre that houses a costume collection dating as far back as 1770. There is also a permanent Ned Kelly story display. But Benalla is world famous for its street art festival. I challenged myself to hunt down all the street arts that I could find in Benalla, but I'm pretty confident I didn't even find all of them, as some of them are removed after a few years and are replaced by new ones. Seriously, some of them are so hard to find that I had to ask a local who told me that one of the street arts at the skate park in Benalla had to be seen from an aerial point of view of a giant skeleton. Like, I would have never found that, never. I thank you for that local for showing me, because it was impossible for me to see. I put the street art that I managed to find at the end of the video, so be sure to check them out. Wall to Wall was the idea of the local community, and in 2019 was heading for its 5th year. The idea started back in 2015, where the community managed to raise some funds for locals, national and international artists. 13 artists worked for just 4 days, transforming the town into a giant artwork. but the idea was not always welcome. I spoke to a local and she told me that some people didn't want the arts to be on the wall, and some people said there might not even be enough space for the arts at all. However, we can all agree that it turned out fantastic and it is a major attraction in Benalla. The Silo Art Trail is another exciting thing you can do in Benalla. I thoroughly enjoyed visiting the enormous and beautifully well painted art. This is the Devonish Silo, done by the renowned artist Cam Scale. It is a visual tribute to the men and women of the Devonish community who have enlisted in the military service. There are also the St. James Silos, which includes the story about George Cole Sr. and St. James. And I believe that the first Cole store was purchased nearby, but I'm not too sure if it was a proper Cole's store by that time. As mentioned earlier, Benalla is also known as the Rose City, and I think you can understand why. And I really enjoyed my casual stroll through the botanical garden. The Botanical Garden, which is situated in the heart of Benalla, was established in 1886 and are home to many rare plantings, as well as the famous Rose Garden. As you can see, I also definitely enjoyed the Benalla Lake Walk, which is about 4.25 kilometers long, and it takes you onto JC and Little Casey's Islands. Benalla City is a good example of what the Australian College of Rural and Remote Medicine, which is ACREM, and the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners, RACGP, represent. And yes, I am very much aware that there are plenty more rural and remote towns, let alone cities, which is seen further north, such as Northern Territory and far north Queensland. But Benalla gave me a taste of how all these general practitioners had some sort of subspecialties on top of being a general practitioner specialist. I have seen general practitioners practice anesthesia in the morning, and then in the afternoon they were practicing obstetrics and doing some dermatology interventions. The scope of practice of a general practitioner in a rural town is so much more extensive and a lot more wider. I have also noticed how the local general practitioners rely on each other to do ward rounds at the hospital and take turns on the on-call duties, as there isn't a permanent doctor at the Benalla Health. This is due to the Australian criteria of how many doctors should be allowed at the hospital. This wider scope of practice and relying on colleagues shows how rural medicine is done in Australia. Again, I'm aware that some towns require fly-in doctors who come on so-and-so day of the week or every 2 weeks and so on. So I'm very much aware that there are very remote and rural towns where rural general practitioners do tremendous amount of work, which is very exciting, something I'm looking forward to and see for myself. And one of the reasons why I came to Australia to study medicine, to really get that aspect of what rural medicine is about. I would like to thank Benalla's health staff who helped me to become more independent and practice medicine with more confidence. And to all the local and residents that have made me feel very welcome, I also thank you for showing me around the town as well and explaining to me what Benalla was. I think I'll come back to Benalla City, especially because I really want to do the Ned Kelly Trail properly and do the Winton wetlands, and maybe also have a look at the motor raceway. It looks very exciting and fun to do as an activity. So yeah, that was a funny montage that I made. Here are some random footages as well as this weird footages of a sport called AFL, which seems that Victorians are obsessed with. I myself like rugby union, but I wouldn't lie, I think I've been more open to the idea of watching an AFL game. I didn't really understand, but it seemed quite entertaining actually to watch, and I enjoyed myself watching these Benalla win or lose, I'm not sure. And now I'm going to wrap up this whole video by, again, I promised you I will show you all the Benalla street arts that I managed to find at the end, just before a footage of a man singing while I was having my coffee outside. It was very, very cozy, very nice. I really like the ambiance of Benalla. So to next time. That's a wrap. Let's end this. And I think under pressure. Oh shit. Oh, there's a game. There we go. Right in there, baby.
But wonder where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound. I've been wandering through this land, doing the best I can, trying to find what I was meant to do. And the people that I see look as worried as can be, and it looks like they are wondering too. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound. Now I had a little girl one time, she had lips like sherry wine, and she loved me till my head went plumb insane. But I was too blind to see she was drifting away from me, and my good gal went off on a morning train. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound.
can't help but wonder where I'm bound. And I had a buddy back home, but he started out to roam. And I hear he's out by Frisco Bay. And sometimes when I've had a few, his old voice comes a-ringing through. And I'm going out to see him some old day. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, oh, where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound. Well, if you see me passing by, and you sit and you wonder why, and you wish that you were a rambler too, nail your shoes to the kitchen floor, lace them up and bar the door. Thank your stars for the roof that's over you. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, oh, where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound.